Tensions between the United States and its NATO allies have reached a critical juncture after President Donald Trump threatened to withdraw the United States from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, reportedly out of anger and frustration over NATO's refusal to participate in a US-led operation to liberate the Strait of Hormuz from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC. The NATO Secretary General is now planning an emergency visit to the White House this week, according to the New York Times. The Washington Post adds that the Secretary General, referred to in sources as Mr. Murray, a likely reference to current NATO leadership, hopes to meet with Trump and explain why the alliance has not decided to intervene alongside the United States in the Strait of Hormuz. Murray has confirmed that NATO did not join the US-Iran war because any decision to launch an attack on Iran requires consensus among all member states, a consensus that has not been reached. Nevertheless, Murray's impending trip to Washington suggests genuine concern that Trump's threats may be more than rhetorical posturing. The power imbalance. Why NATO fears the United States is the single most powerful member of NATO. Compared to the other 31 allies, the US possesses a military force that dwarfs all others combined. American influence extends to counterbalancing China and Russia, both of whom have aggressively expanded their military capabilities. The US is particularly dominant in space warfare and air warfare, operating approximately 13,000 fighter jets as part of its NATO commitment. By contrast, China and Russia, if their air forces were combined, possess just over 6,000 fighter jets between them. In short, without the United States, NATO would lose the vast majority of its offensive and defensive power. Trump's blunt assessment. Paper tigers. President Trump has been unusually candid about his frustration. He told reporters that he is seriously considering withdrawing the US from NATO, which he accused of refusing to take an active part in the Iran war that he initiated. Asked whether he would reconsider US membership in the alliance, Trump replied, "I have never been a NATO ambassador." He then added a sharp critique. "I always knew they were paper tigers, and Putin knew that too." In mid-March, Trump warned NATO allies of a dire future if they did not help secure the Strait of Hormuz. European countries responded with caution and calls for restraint, refusing to send warships into the busy and vital trade route. Trump later acknowledged that his call for action had been just a test, adding, "They didn't need it. We got there automatically, including Ukraine. Ukraine is not our problem. It's a test. We're here for them. They're not there for us." He made these remarks to the British newspaper The Telegraph. Singling out the United Kingdom, the US president then specifically targeted the United Kingdom, heavily criticizing British Prime Minister referred to as Sam or Sumner in the source, likely a placeholder for Keir Starmer or a future leader for refusing to commit UK defense forces to the NATO alliance during the Iran war. Trump claimed that Britain has no navy, is too old, and possesses a non-functional aircraft carrier. He taunted the UK, but refused to elaborate on what he plans to do next regarding defense cooperation. The British Prime Minister responded by defending his decision to keep the UK at a distance from the war. Despite US pressure, he said during a press conference, "Despite any noise, I will act in the UK's best interests in every decision I make. That is why I have made it clear. This is not our war. We will not be drawn into this war." He also reiterated his commitment to NATO, calling it the most effective military alliance the world has ever seen and crediting it with keeping Europe safe for decades. Talks with Iran, a distraction or a path forward? Amid the diplomatic crisis, the United States and Iran are reportedly in talks to end the war, although officials from both sides have offered conflicting accounts of the nature and scope of these negotiations. Trump said on Twitter that Iran had just asked the US to stop, but he insisted that any deal would only be considered when the Strait of Hormuz is open and clear. He reiterated his belief that the United States will destroy Iran once and for all. Pompeo echoes the threat, reviewing NATO's purpose. Trump's latest comments on NATO align with those of a senior administration official. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, in an interview with the New York Times, said the United States may need to review its relationship with NATO after the war is over. He added, "We will review whether the alliance that has served this country well for some time still serves that purpose, or has it become a proxy war where the US is just there to protect Europe, but when we need help from our alliance, they deny us our basic rights and they refuse to let us fly over their airspace." Although Pompeo did not name specific countries, Trump has repeatedly cited examples. The UK initially refused to allow the US to use its bases and troops, a decision later reversed. Spain also refused to allow the US to use its bases to attack Iran, and earlier this week, Spain even closed its doors to its war purposes. US Defense Secretary joins the criticism. US Defense Secretary Scott Morris, likely a reference to a current official, though the name may be a placeholder, also mocked Trump's critics, telling reporters, "There are many things that show the world what our allies do to the USN. When we ask for help, we get questions or obstruction or inaction." He added, "You don't have much capacity. But if there is one country that is not reluctant to stand by you when you need them," leaving the sentence unfinished, implying that no such country exists within NATO. NATO's founding principles and current membership, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was founded in 1949 and now has 32 member countries. Its original 3 principles were to contain Soviet expansion, to prevent the resurgence of European militarism through a strong North American presence on the continent, to encourage the political integration of Europe. The United States, Canada, France, Iceland, and Italy were among the first countries to sign the Washington Treaty, also known as the North Atlantic Treaty, in April 1949. The treaty, which contained 14 articles, was drafted primarily by the British. Trump's long-standing frustration with NATO spending during his first term, Trump frequently expressed dissatisfaction with NATO allies, arguing that individual member states' defense spending was too low, forcing the United States to overspend. At the 2025 NATO summit in Los Angeles, most member countries pledged to invest 5% of their gross domestic product (GDP) annually on defense needs by 2035, a significant increase from the previous 2% guideline. Trump hailed the move as a major victory. Legal barriers to withdrawal. Can Trump actually leave? The United States has been a member of NATO since its founding. In the past, during disputes over Greenland, Trump refused to withdraw from the alliance. However, the Iran war has changed the calculus. According to Geopolitics, a senior law professor at the University of Birmingham, Trump's current threats are more serious. The National Defense Authorization Act (NDA) of 2024 sought to place strict legal restrictions on any future attempts to pull the United States out of NATO. The law bars the president from withdrawing without either a majority vote in Congress or a congressional bill authorizing the withdrawal without 1/3 of Congress supporting the move, or a specific congressional act. The president's hands are theoretically tied. However, Professor Ock notes that Trump could seek to circumvent these restrictions by using the president's broad foreign policy powers, a method he has used in the past to bypass congressional limits on withdrawing from treaties. She added that it is unclear whether any party would have legal recourse to challenge such a move, whether through the courts or through plaintiffs. Given that Republicans control the Senate, Trump could determine that withdrawing from NATO is necessary for national security. Another prominent law professor at Cook University pointed to a historical precedent, a treaty withdrawal in 1978 that was formalized in 1980. However, because of the NDA of 2024, leaving NATO will not be easy. The Supreme Court would likely have to decide in Trump's favor. Congress may struggle to win over Republicans, but legal challenges would come from everywhere. The consequences of us exitums. KUCH, likely the same professor or another expert, warned that the very idea of the United States leaving NATO would undermine trust in a relationship that was once unified. The credibility of the alliance would be questioned repeatedly, and Trump's rhetoric alone could weaken NATO. A weakened alliance, in turn, could undermine European security plans, potentially leading to increased competition among European powers and possibly emboldening Russia. Conclusion. A defining moment for the transatlantic alliance as the NATO Secretary General prepares to meet with President Trump at the White House. The stakes could not be higher. The United States is demanding European support for a war that most European publics oppose. Trump has framed NATO's reluctance as a betrayal, threatening to abandon the alliance he has long criticized as unfair to American taxpayers. While legal barriers to withdrawal exist, Trump has demonstrated a willingness to use executive power to bypass Congress. Whether he follows through on his threat or whether a last-minute deal on the Strait of Hormuz can be reached will determine the future of the transatlantic alliance and the balance of power in both the Middle East and Europe. For now, the world watches as NATO's most powerful member contemplates walking away.